Hello and welcome. My name is Alan. This is a Tagalog learning resource video, and I want to introduce to you something known as gloss. Okay? I think it's very cool, and I'd really like you to take a look at it. Now, one of my favorite polyglots on YouTube is Luca. If you've ever searched on polyglots or language learning on YouTube, you'll probably run across him. Okay, if you haven't heard of him before or you want to look him up again, you can always type in what you see there on the screen, Luca language learning or something like that, and you're bound to find him. Okay, and he is really good. Luca speaks many languages, and he speaks them quite well. And he explains his learning method in his videos on YouTube. And I like to listen to everything I can from him to understand how he goes about learning a language. Okay. Now, keep in mind, he's very good and very experienced in picking up new languages. One of the things that he says is he likes to use bilingual text. Okay. Text that's written in two different languages. His target language and then either his own native language or one of the many other languages that he already knows well. Okay? He not only uses bilingual text, but he also makes sure that there's audio with the text that's spoken in the target language, the language that he's trying to learn. Okay? Now, one of the book series that he represents, or he suggests, is Asimil. It's a series of books that you can learn for lots of different languages. Okay, now the problem is they used to have one for Tagalog, but I haven't seen it anywhere. You know, I've just found bits and pieces or mentions of it before, and I believe it was in Tagalog and French. And from what I understand, it wasn't even a very big book. It wasn't much to it at all. Okay. On the screen right now, you'll see an example of an Asimil book. This one is out of a Spanish book, Spanish with Ease or something like that. Just to kind of give you an idea what it's about. What they show you you'll see on the left there is the Spanish. That will be on one page, your left page, and then on the right page will be it in English or whatever your language is that you already know. Okay. On the left is the target language, on the right is the language you're learning or already know. Sorry. And you can see they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth. And they correspond to each other. Number 1, Buenos dias, Pablo, is hello, Pablo, on the right hand side, okay, in English. And it goes through that. Now that's the first, I think that's the first lesson. Oh yeah, it is. It's the first lesson in that Spanish book. They'll also have some grammar information a little bit and explain a little bit more of the structure of the language and things like that to help you understand this better. Now, a lot of the polyglots that I have watched on YouTube really get into this kind of text because they have the ability to just dive into it and start really figuring it out. Okay, they look at it and they learn as they go. One thing about Asimil is it starts out simple, okay, somewhat simple, and then as you build on the vocabulary, you learn more and more. There's something like 100, usually around 100 lessons in a book, Asimil book, okay? Now, as I said, the problem with people learning Tagalog is we don't have an Asimil book, okay? Like I said, there was one that was written for Tagalog, but the other language in it was French. Well, I took French in high school, but I wouldn't know it good enough anymore to be able to study it, okay, or use it as Luca calls it, the crutch language, okay. You want to use, if you're going to do bilingual text, you want to use the language that you know as a crutch. Don't lean on it too heavy. Really try to figure out what the text means and so forth. But if you need to take a peek at the meaning, you can always look over there at the language that you know And he also recommends, and you can watch his videos to learn more about his technique, but to take the language and translate it, each sentence translated to the language that you know, okay? Actually write it down and get it firmly in your mind that way. And then translate it back also. Write it, for my example would be from English to Tagalog, okay? That's the approach he uses, and a lot of other things. It's really great to listen to him and understand his own methodology, okay? Anyways, one of the problems with learning Tagalog is the lack of a lot of free bilingual text with audio. I remember running across several times on the internet a site, and I can't remember what site it was, but these guys were pretty good Tagalog speakers. Okay, it was not their native language. They were learning Tagalog, but they were really, really good. And they mentioned among each other that one of the things that they found difficult was not enough bilingual text, not enough audio out there. Okay? Well, I have a cool language resource to show you. You might already know about it. I don't know. I looked around and it doesn't seem like a lot of people are talking about it. I think it's cool. Okay? It's free. Now, I do want to mention it's a little bit more complicated, a little deeper Tagalog than you would normally see in a book like Asimil, okay? But I do want to show you, and some of you might really want to get into this. You know, some of you really are all very gung-ho and ready to try it out, so this might be something you'd be very interested in, okay? So what I want to do is introduce to you the Foreign Language Center's Defense Language Institute's resource known as GLOSS. GLOSS, GLOSS. It's located at that address online. Okay? And as I'm done, after I demonstrate it and so forth, I'll show you that again. And if you don't get a chance to write it down right now, or you can stop the video and then write it down if you want, and then continue on. Okay? So what I want to do is tell you a little bit about GLOSS and then dive into it and show you it. GLOSS lessons are developed for independent learners. That's cool. That's the way I do a lot of things. It's made to provide them with learning teaching tools, okay? And for improving their foreign language skills. That's exactly what we want. Reading and listening lessons are based on authentic materials. Now, I think it's super important to get a lot of input. There's a lot of good polyglots out there, and they'll tell you got to listen to the stuff. You need to listen to it. You need to read and listen. Get a lot of input. That's how you can get vocabulary very quick. Okay, is listen and read a lot. What happens is if you listen to a lot of things like almost like tourist talk, I like to call it, where it's like, hi, could you tell me how to go to the U.S. Embassy or something like that? Those are all good. You learn to say those things and be able to listen and converse with people. But it's also nice to be able to listen to the TV, watch the news, and really be able to understand what they're saying, okay? Or partly at least, you know? And this will help you get that kind of material. It's not just TV reports and radio broadcasts. They also have conversations as well, as you'll see, okay? Now, each of the lessons normally has about 4 to 6 activities that you can also work through. I myself don't play with them too much, but you might want to look at those. Some people are into that kind of stuff, some people are not, okay? So let's check it out. I already have it open in the background here, so I'm just going to jump over to it and we'll take a look at it. And there's the address. Okay? We're at the screen right now, and you can see at the top it says Defense Language Institute, Foreign Language Center, GLOSS. Now, if you are into languages, not just Tagalog, look at all these different languages that they have here. Okay? I used to study Hindi. I have Hindi from India, Hindi, by the way, in Tagalog means no or not, which I find fascinating because that was the language I studied before Tagalog. Here they have Tagalog listed. Okay, I'm going to click on Tagalog right there and scroll down a little bit, and they'll talk about things like different levels. You can see the levels here: 1, 1 plus, 2, 2 plus. I think they only, in Tagalog, they only go up to 2 plus. Okay, some of these other languages go all the way up to 4, but they get more complex as the numbers go up. I'm going to leave it at all for now. If I leave it at all, it'll show me in the lower right hand corner how many lessons they have for everything. Okay, for all levels, all modalities, all competence levels, and so forth. Okay, I'm going to go through each of these real quick. You saw what the level is. Let's look at modality. Is listening or reading. Listening or reading. What are you working on? Competence, discourse, lexical, and so forth. Okay, I usually leave it at all of those because I like to check them all out. And then the last one, culture, economy, environment, geography, whatever your interests are. All right. That's another thing. You want to, a lot of times, it's more interesting if you're studying stuff that you're interested in. Okay. Now, they also have a choice here for videos. If you just want to look at the ones that have videos, some of them do. All right. So there's search 101 lessons. Let's take a look at something like, how about Korean? Look at Korean. Look at that. 498 lessons. Wow. How about Hindi? 203. How about something like Spanish? That would be a very common language that people study. Spanish, 372. All right? But in this case, we're interested in Tagalog. So let's take a look at it. I'm going to go right here to level 1. When I do that, it shows me in the lower right-hand corner that there's 39 lessons. 39 lessons at level 1. Okay, well, let's find out what they're about. I'm going to click on that button. And it shows me a list of the lessons that they have. You can see they're all level 1 down the side. Some of them are audio and so forth. This over here on the right-hand side, this little diskette, tells you that you can download that. Okay? You can actually click on and download the course. You can download the audio that goes with it and the whole thing. Okay? One of the things that I did is I went into, for example, this first one, a father and mother discuss their daughter's new boyfriend. I'm going to click on that. Okay, it opens up into the screen. All of the lessons open up into a screen that looks like this. And I see at the top it says glossary. There's another one that says source. All right. And then there's some other ones you can check out if you get into this thing. Here where it says activities, these correspond to the activities that you can work on, such as matching, say, one word with its definition, things like that. They have a lot of different activities, and you can check them out. They're kind of cool. All right. Then the thing that I want to point out is what I do is I go up here to the source. It says source at the top, and I'm going to click on that right now. That opened up this window. Okay, let me just make it a little bit bigger. In the upper right-hand corner, I see it's loading something. It says loading 44%, 50%. That's the audio for this course, okay, for this lesson. I see it's all in Tagalog right here. Let me scroll down through here. Okay, now this is a conversation that's going on. Nanay and tatay, mother and father. And these parents are talking about their daughter. She's been texting somebody that they're not really happy that she is, texting this guy, and they talk about it. Now, I want to mention this audio up here at the top. There is the arrow that you can start it to play it. When you're listening, you can stop at any time and continue on. That's what the red is for. And this one here looks like an infinity symbol, like an 8 laying on its side. That is for repeat. So if you wanted to listen to this and read it over and over and over again, you can just turn on repeat, and when it gets done, it's going to start right over again. Okay. There's also, and there's the little slider here. You can move it to wherever you want. You can go back, go forward, and whatever. Okay. This here, right here, there's a little plus and a little minus sign, upper right-hand corner. That is for changing the volume level from within this window. Now, one thing that I think is cool is this down here, view translation. Okay. I want bilingual text. I might not know what all this means. Okay. I can click on view translation, and there it is. It's awesome. Check it out. So here we can see Tatai, and he's talking about always texting. Their child Mona is always texting this boy. Okay, and over here it says our daughter Mona has been texting this boy a lot. And then alam ko, yeah, I know. Okay, so you can actually go down through there and read the whole conversation and understand what they're saying. Isn't that great? And there's 101 lessons like this, okay, with increasing difficulty. Now let's listen to this. I'm going to go ahead and play this one, and we can follow along with it a little bit. I might highlight here and there. I don't want to go through the whole thing, but at least give you some feel for it. Hopefully this isn't too loud. Let me turn it down a little bit. I'm going to play it.
Nagte-text ng madalas ang anak nating si Mona sa lalaking ito.
Oo, alam ko. Palagi siyang nasa kanyang kwarto na sarado ang pinto, nagte-text araw-araw.
Alam mo ba kung sino siya?
Sa palagay ko, nakita ko siyang naglalakad na may kasamang lalaki pauwi ng bahay mula sa paaralan kahapon.
Okay. Now, another thing that I want to point out here is, I hope it's here. Let me check this about. This might be it. No, that's not it. Let me get out of that. I'm going to close that window and just look down here at the bottom. And I want to look at this copyright. I don't know if you can see it. It's way at the bottom. I'm going to look at the copyright. Okay. And they're saying that the Gloss developers have received permission to use copyrighted materials on the condition that they are used exclusively for non-profit educational purposes in lessons produced by the U.S. government employees, which it's all done by them. And then it says copyrighted text, photos, graphics, audio, and or video materials shall not be published, broadcast, rewritten for broadcast or publication or redistributed directly or indirectly in any medium. Neither of these materials nor any portion thereof may be stored in a computer except for personal and non-commercial use. Let me read that again. Neither of these materials nor any portion thereof may be stored in a computer except for personal and commercial use or non-commercial use. Keep that in mind. So that means that you can actually have it on your computer. That's why they give you that download diskette. You can click on it and actually download the audio onto your computer. Okay, so that's what I did. I went into the source here, and I have it set up as view translation, and I simply go in and highlight all that, right-click, copy, and I take it over into Microsoft Excel, and I paste it in there. And now I have it. I can hide the translation if I want and just read through the part that's the Tagalog. But I have it there. So I went through a lot of the lessons and made one big Excel workbook with multiple sheets in it and pasted a lot of these in there. And it's awesome. Okay. I also got a lot of the audio as well. Now, let me show you another feature of this before I finish this up. We already know about source. That's the place to go to see the actual text, the bilingual text. Okay. How about glossary? If we click on glossary, what that'll do is give you a list of many of the words that are in the dialogue or in the text, okay? And you can listen to these too. Let me click on one of these.
Madalas.
How about this one?
Pauwi.
Okay. Now what I did again is I would like to have those so I can look them up real quick instead of clicking on this little window. And I copied that and I pasted it into Excel right below all the bilingual text. Okay. Then if I need to and need to look up a word, I can scroll down and just check it out. So you might not do that. You might just want to use this right online like this, whatever way that you want to do it. I just wanted you to know that this is available, and I think it's great. Okay, so if you wanted to, you could go into something like the source here. Well, let's go to another one. Let me get out of that one. Close that. I'm going to close that window and come back to this. Let's go into something further down. Well, this one. A witness description of, okay, this one is a witness's description of suspects at a crime scene. Let's check it out. Some of these are actually right off the listening to like the news, okay? And they're a little tough to understand sometimes. The audio isn't always really great. Because the audio isn't always great, sometimes, I'm going to see if this one did it. No. Sometimes down at the bottom where it says view translation, it'll also give you an alternate audio. Okay, so you can actually listen to a better copy of it. What they did is they had it come right off like the radio or something, and you could, or TV, and you could listen to it, but sometimes it's a little hard to understand what the person's really saying. Maybe they're interviewing somebody on the street and it's a little difficult. So they give you another translation where somebody is just speaking it, okay, for you, and sometimes a little bit slower, and it's a little bit easier to read or listen to. So that's another one. That's to keep your eyes out for. All right. Now let's listen to this one. This one's about the crime scene.
Ginang, nandito ka ba noong nangyari ang nakawan?
Opo, opisyal. Nakita ko po ang buong pangyayari.
Pwede mo bang sabihin sa akin ang deskripsyon ng mga salarin?
Sigurado, nagagalak po akong gawin iyan.
Okay, I want to mention something about that Ginang. Now, I teach Ginang because it's nice to know that it's in the language, but in the real world, many times you're not going to say that. You're not going to say Mrs. You're gonna actually say the English Mrs. Or Miss or Ma'am. Better to say Ma'am, Sir, or Ma'am. Okay, so that one's in here. There's thief, robbers. This is good stuff. May dalawang lalaki po. There were two men, sir. So there's take it for what it is. It's a lot of good content here, and I think it's well worth your while. Well, I don't want to get this too long, so I'm going to go ahead and close this up and wrap it up. Right? So let's get back into this. That's the address that you'll want to write down. You can stop the video if you didn't already write it down and write that down. Go there and check it out. I think you'll like it. It's fun. And it's really important to start listening to a lot of content. Listen to it, and I like to listen to it and read it at the same time. Read it and listen to it. Read it and listen to it and get it anchored in my head. Even if I don't exactly understand everything they're saying, just to try to match up what I'm reading with the sound of the language. It's very important to do that, okay? And if you find it interesting, then read what it's talking about on the right-hand side and try to kind of figure it out a little bit, what the words are. You can always go into the glossary, try to find out some of the words a little bit better, and study that language. But the big deal is to feed on it. Just listen to it and go through it. It's a really good way to go, all right? Well, anyways, this concludes a brief look at gloss. It's got to be a little bit longer than I expected it to, but I hope you don't mind. And there again is that address, gloss.dliflc.edu. Go check it out. I think you'll like it. It's awesome.